Year 2013. Location Cecil Hotel, California. Elisa Lam was a 21-year-old Canadian student traveling alone in California in January 2013. She checked into the notorious Cecil Hotel, a place infamous for its dark history, including connections to serial killers Richard Ramirez and Jack Unterwehr. Elisa was active on social media, regularly posting updates about her travels and her struggles with mental health, particularly bipolar disorder. On January 31, 2013, Elisa vanished. She was last seen on hotel surveillance footage in a deeply unsettling elevator video. In the footage, she appeared to be hiding from someone or something, pressing all the elevator buttons before stepping in and out of the car erratically. At one point, she waved her arms in strange, almost ritualistic movements, as if interacting with an unseen force. For days, there was no trace of her. Meanwhile, hotel guests began complaining about water pressure issues and foul-tasting water. On February 19th, a maintenance worker investigating the complaints discovered Elisa's decomposing body in one of the rooftop water tanks. The discovery was gruesome, and questions quickly arose. How had she gotten into the tank? The roof was locked, and the water tanks were not easily accessible. An autopsy ruled Elisa's death an accidental drowning, with her mental health cited as a possible factor. However, many remain unconvinced. Theories range from foul play to the paranormal, with some linking the case to the Cecil Hotel's sinister reputation. The haunting elevator video and the tragic, mysterious circumstances of Elisa Lam's death continue to chill people worldwide. Year 1922. Location: Hinterkaifeck, Germany. In March 1922, a chilling sequence of events unfolded on a remote German farmstead. Andreas Gruber, the patriarch of the family, had reported strange occurrences in the weeks leading up to the tragedy. Footprints in the snow led to the house but did not leave. Strange noises emanated from the attic, and household items vanished inexplicably. Despite the ominous signs, life carried on as usual until March 31st. That evening, someone lured the family members into the barn one by one and killed them with a mattock. The victims included Andreas, his wife Cecilia, their widowed daughter Victoria, and her two children, young Cecilia and Joseph. The family maid, Maria Baumgartner, who had just begun working there, was also murdered. The bodies were stacked neatly, and shockingly, the killer stayed on the farm for several days, feeding livestock and cooking meals. Investigators were baffled by the crime. Numerous suspects were questioned, including Victoria's rumored lover, her estranged husband, believed to be dead but possibly alive, and neighbors. Despite their efforts, no conclusive evidence was found. To this day, the Hinterkaifeck murders remain unsolved, leaving behind a legacy of fear and unanswered questions. Year 1989, Ohio. On October 27, 1989, 10-year-old Amy Mihaljevic left her school in Bay Village, Ohio, to meet a man she had been communicating with via phone. He had told her he worked with her mother and wanted Amy's help picking out a gift to surprise her. Trusting him, Amy agreed to meet at a local shopping plaza. Amy was last seen outside a Baskin-Robbins, chatting with a man who appeared to be in his 30s or 40s. Witnesses described him as unremarkable. Nothing about him raised alarm. However, Amy never returned home. A frantic search ensued, but it wasn't until February 1990 that her body was discovered in a rural field. She had been murdered, and the details of her death were heartbreaking and brutal. Investigators found that the man who contacted Amy had also called other young girls in nearby towns, attempting the same ruse. Despite an extensive investigation, including interviews with over 20,000 individuals, the identity of Amy's killer remains unknown. The case continues to haunt the community and stands as a stark reminder of the dangers of predatory crimes against children. Year 1977. Location Camp Scott, Oklahoma. The summer of 1977 marked a horrific event in rural Oklahoma. On the evening of June 12th, a group of young girls gathered at Camp Scott for what was supposed to be a fun-filled week of camping. Lori Farmer, 8, Michelle Gu, 9, and Doris Milner, 10, shared a tent at the edge of the campsite, a seemingly safe but secluded spot. Tragically, the next morning, a counselor discovered their lifeless bodies on a trail leading away from the tent. The girls had been sexually assaulted and bludgeoned to death. Their tent had been slashed open, and a flashlight, bloody shoe prints, and other chilling clues were left behind. The prime suspect was Jean Leroy Hart, an escaped convict with a history of violent crimes. Despite mounting evidence, including hair and fingerprints, a jury acquitted Hart due to alleged mishandling of the investigation. Hart died in prison years later, leaving many to wonder if justice was ever served. The case sent shockwaves across the nation and led to widespread changes in camp safety protocols. Yet decades later, the unsolved mystery of the Oklahoma Girl Scout murders continues to cast a shadow over the area, keeping parents and campers alike vigilant.